now just gives me less pressure to come back fast, and I can just do a proper comeback.
Hi, welcome to the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast. I'm Matthew Piaro, editor of the magazine and host of the podcast. I hope you're all keeping well, and I hope that in these crazy times, you're able to ride your bike, which is probably on the trainer right now, which seems to be the safest, most sensible thing to do. But it's tough. It's tough as the weather starts to warm and you get itchy feet to get outside on the roads. But yeah, I hope you're keeping safe and well, and that you will be enjoying those roads soon enough. One rider who will be off the bike for quite a while is Michael Woods of EF Education First Pro Cycling. In early March, during Stage 5, he crashed in the midst of the Paris-Nice race, and he broke his femur. I spoke with him recently as he was recovering in Girona. We spoke using a voice over IP app, and it was prime internet usage time in Spain. So, the audio is a bit shaky. Woods and I spoke about Paris-Nice, lockdown, the Olympics, and how maybe, just maybe, despite everything, he's caught a lucky break. Michael Woods, you are recovering from a broken femur. You're in Spain, a country which has been in lockdown since March 14th, and where COVID-19 virus continues to spread. The road season is on hold because of the pandemic, and the Olympics have been postponed until 2021. This seems like a terrible situation for a pro cyclist. So how's your day-to-day at the moment?
It's actually not too terrible. I mean, I have a broken femur, but aside from that, because of the broken femur, I'm relegated to my house anyways. So I'm relatively unaffected at the present moment by the quarantine, by the lockdown, just because this is what I'd be doing regardless if I had with the broken femur. And it's almost like if everyone was allowed out, I have this massive fear of missing out, but I don't, because no one's outside. I've been crutching outside just to go get my bloods checked on a regular basis because I'm on blood thinners. When I go to get the blood checked, I crutch out, and it's about 1.5K from my place, and it's a good workout. But when I'm out there, it's dead. It's a really eerie feeling. But for me, it's I don't think I could put my femur at a better time, just with the way the Olympics are going to be delayed and going to be pushed back a year from now. Now just gives me less pressure to come back fast, and I can just do a proper comeback.
Let's go back to Paris-Nice, the last World Tour race of this season to date. You crashed in Stage 5. What can you remember about that crash?
Oh, I remember it all. It sucked. Paris-Nice was a really weird race for me. It wasn't originally on my schedule. I was supposed to do Tirreno Adriatico, but then that got canceled. So I got thrown into Paris-Nice, and Paris-Nice is probably the last race that on the calendar that I do that really scares me. It's a really aggressive, really stressful race. And I think also with just all the fear of the coronavirus and everything around it, us just kind of infiltrated even into my head, and affected me just a bit mentally. I think I was probably operating at 99.8% as opposed to 100%. And yeah, I wasn't my normal self in a bike race. I was a lot more stressed. On the fifth stage, I was passing on a descent. I shouldn't have been. I was going too fast on the outside. Took the corner fast, and would have been able to save it, but unfortunately hit a big culvert that was directly in front of me, and flipped over and smacked my leg.
After your crash, you had surgery in a hospital in Lyon. What was it like being in the hospital at that time when France was seeing its cases of COVID-19 rise very quickly?
Yeah, it was really weird. I was on a lot of drugs, a lot of painkillers at that period. Breaking my femur was probably the most painful thing I've ever had happen to me, and I was excruciating. So I was not fully there in the hospital for a lot of it, but during that period, all the nurses were wearing masks, and the hospital did an amazing job of operating on me quickly. I think I beat the rush of coronavirus patients because it was quite actually quiet within the hospital. However, my parents came up to pick me up from the hospital early because we had heard that the Spanish-French border was going to be closed, and I wanted to get back to Spain. Although I'm not a resident of Spain, I'm a resident of Andorra. I spent my winter training in Spain. My family was all in Spain, so I wanted to make sure to get into Spain before they closed everything down. And we had a rushed exit from the hospital, a lot of stress, and just made it across the border before everything closed down.
How long do you expect the recovery process to be for your broken femur?
I've ruined one athletic career because I tried to put a set time on it. My coach, Paulo Saldana, was pretty confident that we could get me back to, this was prior to the Olympics being delayed to the start date of the Olympics. But now that date's being pushed back, now that the calendar is so up in the air, and also because my team has been just really, EF Pro Cycling has been really great in terms of they just want me to make a full recovery. I'm not going to really put a massive timeline on it. From what I've been told, I am able to start walking in about 4 weeks from now. I'm 2 weeks on the nose into the post surgery. But also I'm able to start riding the trainer actually in the next day or so. So once again, the trainer, I think that'll help the recovery process, speed up the recovery process. And then ideally, once I can start walking, if all the imaging goes well, then I can be back riding outside around that period too. But I don't want to be racing until I'm 100%. So I'm not going to set like a hard date on that.
I imagine you'll find the virtual world that you'll be training in quite crowded, and I'm understanding that even internet where you are is being used quite heavily at the moment.
Yeah, totally. Bandwidth is at its limit, but for me that's been okay. I'm really trying to not be on my phone that much, not spend that much time on the internet. I went down a bit of a hole Pyrenees, getting caught up and just seeing if races were going to be canceled, if we were going, if we were not, and it just did nothing for my mental health. So now I'm just trying to actually decompress a bit, spend a little bit more time with my newborn baby girl, and hang out with my wife, read some good books. And I've been really lucky. I have some good practitioners that have been swinging by the house and helped me with the recovery. So it hasn't been too hard being a bit more unplugged.
Turning now to the Olympics, how did you feel about the Canadian Olympic Committee's announcement that it wouldn't send athletes to the Tokyo Games if they went ahead this summer?
I mean, obviously I had a biased opinion just because after breaking the femur, I really wanted to have the Olympics delayed and be able to do a later Olympics. But that aside, I felt a lot of pride. There are a lot of national federations in the world that don't put the health and wellness of their athletes first. There are even sport governing bodies that don't do that adequately. And Canada clearly showed that was of their first concern, is the health and wellness of their athletes. They didn't want to put us at risk, and they felt like this was a risk. And so I really appreciated that decision, and I appreciated the fact that we took a real lead on that. I think a lot of Canadians could feel pride in that decision.
But as you've kind of mentioned, this is a bit of a, silver lining bonus that the timing coincides, the postponement, which came shortly after the COC's decision or announcement, It's a bit of a boon to you. It gives you that time to recover.
Yeah, certainly. In a lot of ways, I mean, I'm not thankful I broke my femur. That's for sure. I'm not thankful that I had that painful of an injury and to not be walking at the moment. However, I am thankful at the fact that I'm actually able to be home and just spend a lot more time with Max, my daughter. The lead up to Paris, I've been really putting in big hours, big training hours, and wasn't as present at home as I would have liked to have been. So this has been a nice opportunity to kind of hit the reset button. I'm even trying to kind of just reset from a health perspective to gain a bit of weight and just kind of fatten up a bit, get a big real recovery block in, and then be mentally fresh for whatever's left in the season and for 2021.
How much have you been able to study the Olympic course to date, and can you compare it, or how can you compare it with the Rio course you did in 2016?
In 2016, I felt like the course was a touch more demanding in the final stages, just because we did I forget the name of the climb in Rio, 3 times, and there's a quite a challenging climb, but I think Tokyo's going to be a really difficult course, having had a chance to recon it and do Mount Fuji, but also Mikuni Pass. Really, that climb is going to be a very important climb, and it's super challenging. I think technically this course is a bit easier, but it is still going to play out like a one-day kind of Ardennes classic, similar to Liège or Lombardia, where you're looking at only 1 or 2 or 3 guys coming to the finish line together.
You've mentioned how, in a way, it's the timing has worked out pretty well for you, that you have time to recover. Are there any other silver linings you've found with the challenging situations that are happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, I also don't mean to diminish how significant things are right now, and how weird and scary of a time this is, and how people are being significantly impacted physically, financially. I don't mean to diminish that, but for me, it is an opportunity to find some silver lines and realize that how lucky I am, and kind of give me an opportunity to. I think also it's been an opportunity for me to really refocus a bit. I spent a lot of time really training this year, and was pretty devastated when I first realized that my femur was broken. Just thinking of all that hard work was just kind of put to waste. But now that all this is happening, it's kind of set things back in perspective and made me realize that it's just bike racing. This is a very small thing in this world relative to everything else, and I'm just lucky to be doing it for a living.
And as you mentioned, you get to be home with your almost 2-month-old daughter?
Yeah, exactly. She's 2 months old. That's wonderful. Now she's actually making eye contact and smiling a bit, and she's more interactive. So it's been wonderful. I'm actually quite lucky in the sense that she's only 2 months old. I could imagine her being a year old now and being able to walk. I think it'd be much more challenging being locked up in a house with a kid that was mobile. Instead, she's just a great little snuggle buddy.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you for your time, and have a speedy and safe recovery.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
And that's the episode. It's put together by me, Matthew Piaro, produced by Adam Killick. He also did the music. We had help from web editors Terry McCall and Lily Hanson-Gillis. Special thanks to Ontario Creates for its support. Please rate and review the podcast. 5 stars would be super helpful. Tell your friends, get them to subscribe. And yes, do please take care, stay safe and healthy, and we'll talk to you later.